Runway extension. Runway extension. We're on the tail end. To the extent that you have the capacity, the airfield capacity to accommodate the flights that are coming in and out, the airport will become a contributor to the region, and so you got to have the airfield capacity. We're on the last leg of our airfield expansion program, if you will, for Cleveland Hopkins. This extension and uncoupling project for our runway, in essence, this phase extends the runway to about 10,000 feet. This is the first phase of an ultimate phase where the runway will be extended to 11,250 feet. It also addresses a safety issue where we have two runways that intersect. And that particular intersection has contributed to a number of incursions at Cleveland Hopkins and other safety issues over the last many years. And so this project is well on its way. It's on schedule. It's on budget. It is a very, very complex project. It requires a lot of moving parts. Just a couple days ago, we closed down one of our major runways, shifted operations to 6th Center, and so, again, creates a very, very complex operation at the airport. And so we're doing the best we can, thank you, Steve Nagy, to keep that project going, and he's done an amazing job so far on that one. Closing on Cleveland Hopkins. I told you, there's very little I can say in 25 minutes, so please be patient with me. Closing on Cleveland Hopkins. All that I've told you is what we've done somewhat as a Band-Aid. These are near-term, low-hanging fruit kinds of initiatives that we've done at Cleveland Hopkins. So when I say we haven't done anything yet, it's because despite how much we've accomplished in a short period of time, there's still so much more that we have to do. And the rest of what we do will come out of a strategic plan that we're actively engaged in. My performance management group is working with a consultant to develop a 3 to 5 year strategic plan for the Department of Port Control that will include our next wave of initiatives, improvements to both Cleveland Hopkins, Burke Lakefront Airport, and the Harbors Division. And then we're also positioned to engage in a master planning effort for Cleveland Hopkins starting in next year. This master plan will define Cleveland Hopkins for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Now, if I can get to Burke real quick, same kinds of issues with Burke Lakefront Airport. It's an airport that has been ignored for many, many years, ignored in many respects. There's not been significant investment in the airport. There's this outstanding question. One thing you'll learn about me, if you haven't figured it out already, is I don't run away from controversy. I don't run away from tough decisions. This decision about Burke, whether or not the airport should open or close, is a decision that's been hanging over this airport for many, many, many years, and it has severely hampered the airport's ability to grow. If you are a major carrier, general aviation service provider or corporate air service provider or others, you're not going to make a significant commitment to Burke Lakefront Airport if its future is in question. And so we've engaged in a master planning process for Burke that comes to an end around October of this year, and that master plan is set out to do two basic things. One, to answer that question. We will answer that question once and for all. Now, again, when you answer a question that's full of so much controversy, you're going to have a group of people that are going to be happy. You're going to have another group of people that will be unhappy. And that's just the way it is. But we're going to make a decision. It's not going to be a political decision. It's going to be a decision that's in the best interest of the airport and the region, the public that relies on that airport. And you can bank on that. I'm an airport director. That's all I do. I'm not a politician. I'm not an elected official. All I do is run airports. And so any decision that comes out of me is going to be airport-based. And that's the charge that I've gotten from the mayor, is to make sure we make a business case for what we do. And so that's where we're going with Burke. Burke has a vacancy rate of 0. If we were to bring another tenant into this airport right now, I'm talking about the terminal facility itself, we would have to either construct new space or we'd have to kick somebody out. That's where we are right now with Burke in terms of its facility. That is an enormous feat for an airport that has such a cloud hanging over it to have a vacancy rate of practically zero is simply amazing. So again, I applaud Khalid for that, and that wasn't the case a year ago. And so again, Commissioner's aggressive management and entrepreneurial spirit is what got us there. I'll talk about regionalism a little bit, then I'll shut up.
5 more minutes.
5 more minutes? Okay, good. It won't take me more than 10. But who's counting? Okay. Regionalism. I think most of the people in the room are council men, councilwomen, council people from various municipalities in the area. The mayor has been very, very active in the Mayor's Managers Association, and his thoughts on regionalism has been very, very clear. His behavior, his practice as it pertains to regionalism has been very, very clear. He does not believe Cleveland operates in a vacuum or that Cleveland should exist in a vacuum. He recognizes the importance of having reach out to the many municipalities surrounding Cleveland and identifying those synergies and coming together to take advantage of those. And I think his behavior has been just that. From an airport's perspective, if you look at Cleveland Hopkins, if we do not talk about regionalism again, going forward with respect to Cleveland Hopkins will still be a regional airport. It is the region's commercial airport. By far, there's no other airport in this region. It's the largest airport in the state. It's the busiest airport in the state. So not only is it a regional airport, it is also the state's airport. But we have to strike a balance as we move forward with Cleveland Hopkins from a regional standpoint, because I cannot just focus on Northeast Ohio. I have an airport to the west of me, Detroit Metropolitan, that is very aggressively going after my customer base, which resides in Northeast Ohio. I have another airport to the east of me, Pittsburgh, that is going after Cleveland Hopkins customer base in a very, very aggressive way. So when I engage in marketing efforts or expansion efforts, I have to do it with those airports in mind, which means I have to engage in very aggressive marketing campaigns that might not be in the best interest of other commercial airports in the region. Akron-Canton, for example, which has done a very, very good job at marketing its airport in its interest. And so although we embrace regionalism and we want to have an airport that serves the region to the best that it can, some of our initiatives may not always reflect that, because we have competitors who are outside of the region who, quite frankly, do not care about regionalism from a Northeast Ohio standpoint, and we have to engage in business practices to minimize those airports' impact on what we do. So from Cleveland Hopkins' standpoint, we have to strike a balance. From Burke's standpoint, the master plan is going to answer that question. I think Berkeley Airfront should be and will be the premier general aviation corporate airport in the country. We have the capacity to do that. We are positioned to do that. There's no reason why we can't do that. We simply haven't had the vision in the past and the focus to do that. And so I think the airport has that potential. It has that capacity. The master plan will define where we go and how we go there with Berkeley Lakefront Airport, but I do think it has the potential of being, not just from a regional standpoint, from a national standpoint, one of the premier airports in the country. And so we'll work very hard over the coming months to define what that future is. We'll begin soon stakeholder focus groups where many of you, if not all of you, will have an opportunity to engage in that process and influence the future of the airport. So again, I want to thank you guys for tolerating me for 24 minutes?
Just about
24 minutes. And look forward to spending the rest of the morning with you.
Thank you very much, Director Smith. And we're going to pause for a moment so our talented documentarian can switch tapes.